So what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt, and you're watching Demo Reel. And today, we're going to be talking all about indie film festivals. And I am super excited today because I'm sitting here with Don and Katha Cato, the head honchos of the Queen's World Film Festival. Guys, how are you doing today?
I'm great. We're great.
Doing great. It's a good day.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks
Hey,
for having us.
thank you. I really appreciate this. Now, to start off, could you guys just tell us a little bit about the Queen's World Film Festival and what you guys are all about?
Sure. Well, you're essentially looking at the Queen's World Film Festival. I'm the executive director, and he's the artistic director. We'll tell you a little bit about that. But it's a multi-day, multi-venue, international film festival that is discovering wonderful, challenging, exciting films from all around the world and around the corner. Because as you know, there's a thriving film community in Queens.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows of that in Brooklyn and in Manhattan, but also in the Bronx and Staten Island. And we pride ourselves in bringing films from all over the world and pairing them with great films from here, local films from Queens. And we're going March 15th through the 25th in 2018. It's our 8th year. We feel that's big for some reason.
That is pretty big, honestly.
It is big.
Like well, honestly, these days, anything running for 8 years is big.
Yes, we're excited. So I'm the executive director, and I handle all the paperwork and the scheduling, etc. And Don, you are?
I am the artistic director of the Queen's World Film Festival, and what my responsibilities are is the aesthetic of the festival, which includes going through and choosing the films, themes, ideas, content, and programming, and then ultimately projection.
Awesome. And as people who are as steeped in the film festival world as you guys are, what role do you think they play in the independent film industry and the film industry, Hollywood, whatever, what have you, as a whole?
Well, you take it.
Well,
I'll
film festivals are a place where independent films can be screened and be seen on a large screen.
Mm-hmm.
In most cases, film festivals do have large screens.
Right.
And it's very difficult, as you probably are aware, and many people out there, it's difficult to find a big screen that will play your film.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult. With the advent of the smaller screens and everything else, YouTube, it's still important to get your film seen in front of a bunch of civilians.
Right.
Not just your friends and the crew,
Yeah.
and the neighbors and your uncle,
Mm-hmm.
and the dentist. It's important.
or
less-
the financier, dentist financier.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
We do know.
Yeah.
It's very important. So it's good to have the civilians react and to be with other filmmakers and in a place where it's conducive for films to be seen and people to talk about them. That's just not there.
You know, the studios are creating events around their films, and they're very noisy and they're big, and now you can go to someplace for specific sound, you go to someplace for specific size of screen, etc. And film festivals create events around your films also, but on a different level. We're creating a community around your film, and at our festival, the way Don programs, it's by thematic unit, and he gives each block a provocative name, and he groups these films together that might be exploring the same ideas. You could have an animation from Germany, and a short narrative from Spain, a short narrative from Corona, and then some expressionistic experimental work from Nairobi. And they're all might be dealing with the same idea, and he groups them together, and then we can create community around that by niche marketing and making sure that the people who are interested in your theme is going to be able to find you. At an indie film festival, you know, first thing people look are like, where are the stars? And well, at indie festivals, there are a lot of stars. The stars are the films. So the reason we group them thematically also is that the civilian can find a block of film that speaks to them, and guaranteed then that they're going to find something that they should be seeing, which then connects that filmmaker, that Corona filmmaker, to people around the world, the filmmakers from around the world, as well as an audience here in Queens that he'll need to follow and that he needs or she needs to cultivate. So the role we play is we bring people together in this time-honored fashion to see these indie films.
And of note, over time, because we're now in our 8th year, last year and in year 6, we now have had people coming back to the festival because they have discovered this thematic idea and they actually trust us. And that's a very big and important thing for us, the festival, but it's also for filmmakers to realize that if we put you in a certain block, and you might see a mix of genres, but the idea or theme behind that same block is the same, they'll go, let's give it a shot, and they'll go.
So then each block has a Facebook page. With Facebook, I just feel like the world is right there all the time, and that's astounding to me. But then I can connect you. If you have a film in our festival, you're going to have a Facebook event page that's going to connect you with other people, and then long after our festival, those other filmmakers are going to be your colleagues from around the world. So if you want to shoot something, or if they remember, this guy's got the same sensibility I do, maybe he'd want to come over and shoot something with us. That's really exciting to us also. We had the guys from LA, the Matarisi brothers, with the guy who did the Gathering Swine.
Yep.
Who did, oh, Lord mercy, Brian
Smolinski. Brian Smolinski.
So in our first year, Brian and Rakesh Chadre never even met each other. They screened in the same block. 6 years later, Brian Smolinski had a film with us, and Rakesh came to see it. And to see them standing there, and they both now have gray hair. 6 years later, what can happen? And to see them so engaged in this conversation, these two guys who met in Jackson Heights in 2011, because their films screened together, now are colleagues, international colleagues. And that's just, what a privilege to be part of that.
And the film that she's talking about
Exactly.
is called The Eclipse of Terregna, which was the story about an eclipse that could be seen perfectly in Terregna. It's about a grandfather who's losing his sight, and he teaches his grandson science, and it's also a bonding moment between them, and it happens around this eclipse.
Oh, I can see why that would get two people talking. That sounds like a beautiful film.
It is a beautiful film. As the grandfather loses his sight, the eclipse comes closer. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful film.
And I love stories like that, of like people coming together and like thinking, oh, we need to make something, and then them doing it. And as you just illustrated, like that to me I think is the spirit of indie film festivals. Just coming together for a mutual love of the art form of film and just seeing what more can be done.
It's really exciting to us on opening night or the week before when we do the trailer party, when we're screening all the trailers, and you see these filmmakers really start to create these relationships. And you feel that you're transcending. This is not just a festival. It's not something where we're just going to throw a bunch of images up on the screen and see what sticks.
Right.
This is really lovingly curated. Sometimes at 4 o'clock in the morning, when he's screening, he comes in and he'll just say, "I just saw a piece of art," and it's beautiful. And I'm like, "That's awesome, Don. I'll talk to you about it in the morning." And it's just, then I'll come in here and, his position like this when he's looking at films, and he's teary. And then it breaks his heart when we're going through 500-600 films, and you can only take 100. And that gets to be tough moments.
Yeah, it is.
It comes down to the ideas. Are the ideas going to really stand? If you have 3 or 4 films that are dealing with the same ideas, who exploited their materials, who stayed true to their idea, and Don has something that he talks about a lot, is that he wants to see a film that has an earned ending, whether it makes you feel good or not. Why don't you talk